Okay, y'all. So we are exactly at 1:02. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, Hopefully everyone can see my screen. But again, thank you for joining. My name is Lauren Nuss. I am the head of our customer success department here at Jove. But in past lives, I've been social media marketer. I've been an analyst. So I've basically spent my entire career diving into marketing data and trying to figure out what the hell to do with it. And so I really am pretty excited to talk to y'all about creative insights today. Also on the line, we have Alyssa, who's a part of our marketing team. She is going to be our handy dandy moderator today. So again, if you have any questions, please do not be shy. Please drop them into the chat. Alyssa can be the voice for you and interrupt me and ask her questions. So again, we want to make sure that you're walking away with as much actionable information as possible. So with that, let me just go ahead and give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to give you a very brief, very painless just introduction to who Jove is and why we feel like we can talk about creative insights with any sense of authority. And then we're going to dive into sort of like the meat of the presentation, which is like, what are insights? Why should we care about insights? What is having or identifying an insight enable me to do? What is the power of an insight? And then again, we are a software company, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into our tool that we call Creative Insights, give you a quick demo of that, and then we'll round out the 30 minutes with Q&A. So if you don't have any questions throughout the presentation, we'll have some time at the end to make sure that everyone is walking away feeling good about what we went over. Okay, so again, very quick introduction to Jove. So I work for Jove. Like I said, I'm the head of our customer success department, and Jove is a software company that is trying to make ad testing feel simple. That is our mission. That is our motto. And really, what that phrase means, and what this like fancy-ish kind of graph means, is we are trying to make or enable users to make sense of their marketing data and figure out what to do next. And that it's really as simple as that. We know that there's power in data, so how can we make it feel simple for you to understand what your data is telling you to do? And so, okay, why are we focusing in on data? Well, according to super sciencey sources like my dude Bill over there, your level of expertise, the size of your team, the size of your budget has absolutely zero impact on your ability to make predictions or predict the future. However, as marketers, we are constantly asked and even expected to do so. We're constantly getting questions. Well, okay, well, what does that mean? Okay, what should we do next? Well, if we do that, how will that perform? Well, how much should we spend into that? Okay, well then after we launch that, what should we launch next? These are all questions about the future. And when, again, as my past life as a marketer, those are the only kind of questions that I got. And so you answer those questions by diving into the data. Your data will tell you what to do, but again, frankly, data isn't enough. Data is just the what. The data isn't going to tell you what to do, but it can. And so that is why we are focusing on the insight. The insight means many different things to many different people. It's a very common word. People use it in many ways. A couple of things that we could use to define an insight is, again, an insight is the meaning within the data. It's hidden in the data. You have to wade through that data in order to find it. Also, insights need to be timely. You have to react fast in today's marketing world. You can't take something you learned last year and apply it to what you're doing today, because frankly, there's expiration dates tied to insights. If you don't act on them fast, they won't work. Oftentimes they're measurable, they're packed with context. There's so many different components, so many different slices and dices of data that go into finding that insight. And again, they're actionable and they're dynamic. They're ever changing. But really, Jove's definition of the insight is quite simple. An insight is the why. The data is the what, the insight is the actionable piece of the why. And when you have the why, when you know why something worked, you're able to confidently answer the questions that you're bombarded with. What should we do next? Well, we should do this because in the past, this worked because of this. Having the because of answer will up your game as a marketer and never make you second guess what to do next. The second part of this is creative insights. Why are we so hyper-focused on the creative insights? There's a million different components to marketing. What makes the creative so special? Well, exactly that. There's a million different components to marketing, and you frankly have zero control over them. You have absolutely no control if the consumers that you're targeting are in a bad mood today. You have no control if a new competitor enters the market and it's taking a competitive mind share. You have no control if the audience that you've been targeting for the past year all of a sudden has a different set of users in that audience. And you have no control over 2020 and the fact that 2020 is a year that's completely upside down. You can't control that. However, you can control your creative. In fact, your creative is one of the only things that you can control. You have control over your messaging. You have control over the way that you're designing your ads. You have control over how long that video is. These are your constants. And so by focusing on creative, you can unpack and learn so much about the why, about the because of, about how to answer and respond to the questions that you're constantly being asked. And so what is the power of the insight, and specifically the creative insight? There's a lot of information on this slide, but again, what the insight allows you to do is confidently know what to do next. And specifically, creative insights creates a common language between two of your most powerful marketing teams or marketing methods, your channel managers and your creative teams. That's a very, very, very powerful duo. And knowing the why behind creative performance essentially enables you to confidently navigate through whatever creative process that you're going through. Here, we have briefing through brand development. These are all, common behaviors of marketing teams. However, again, it's letting you focus in and be confident in whatever part of that process that you're in. So you know what creatives worked well, so you know where to focus your creative energy, your creative mind power, and where to iterate. If you have to pitch a creative idea, if you have the data to back that creative idea, you're going to leave very little room for your stakeholders to say no or to disagree with you. And then you're also able to put new ideas out there and feel safe about those new ideas because, again, our tool is enabling you to get to the why and to know what components of a particular idea is correlated to positive performance and what components to lean into next and what components to lean away from moving forward. And so how do we do it? There's three main ways. So one, again, the marketing world's busy and crowded. We're going to bring in your cross-channel data into one visually forward reporting tool. And then we have two organizing components. We have metrics and then we have tags. So metrics, it's just that, it's the what. You can't get to the why unless you know what's important to your business and you're measuring performance against that what. And then we have tags, which I will get into the demo in a little bit. The tags are really just the backbone of the insight. Our tags are enabling you to very easily and very flexibly enrich your data set by applying values to every single component of your campaign, from image to audience to landing page to copy, so that you can be very, very, very specific about what is working and what isn't working, about the why. So with all of that, I'm going to go ahead and quickly stop share, and I'm going to go ahead and pivot over to the tool itself and give you a quick demo. Give me 1 second while I fumble through the screen share. It's always a very humbling experience. Okay, all right. So can everyone, I'm assuming, can see my screen, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump in. So this is the Jove homepage. This is what you will have access to, or actually all of you already have user credentials. This is what you will see when you log in. So now I'm going to go through, again, our two organizing principles, metrics and tags, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop into the insights and give you a pretty deep dive. So first, metrics. This is the what. This is the building block of the what. So what our metrics tool is doing is taking every channel that you've connected to Jove, whether it be Google, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Bing, and we're pulling in all of your conversion metrics that have been recording data. And then it's allowing you to control, with this visibility sort of like toggle here, what metrics you care about and focus in on, again, what matters most to your business. Whatever you control and turn off here will feed into all of the other modules that Jove has for you. And so again, for the sake of this demo, you see there's 61 metrics here. Maybe I'm overwhelmed by that. I can go in and turn off all the metrics of the ones that I care about, and that'll simplify my experience in Creative Insights. So that's metrics. Now let's go to tags. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on tags because, like I said, this is the absolute backbone of getting to the why. And so again, what tags is doing, it's taking all of the channels you've connected to Jove, Facebook, Google, Bing, and it's pulling in all of your creative assets. So images, the videos that you have on those platforms, all the individual copy that you've run on those platforms, landing pages, audiences, and campaigns. And then what it's enabling you to do is apply values to these assets, your images, your copy, your landing pages, your audience, in that matter most to your business. So for example, let's say for campaigns, I am constantly thinking about the different funnel steps of my campaigns. I can go in here, I create a tag that says funnel step, and I can say first touch. Here I can say second touch. Maybe I have 17 touches. I'm just going to do third touch here and save. Now what I have the ability to do is search for specific campaigns within tags and then apply whatever campaign level tag that matters most to me. Once I apply that tag, again, that's a way that you can now slice and dice your data in all of our different modules. And again, for the sake of this demo, Creative Insights. One other thing worth mentioning before I pivot over to Creative Insights, there's 3 different brands of, or types of tags, if you will. Custom, which means you can create whatever the hell you want. The world's your oyster, go crazy. Standard, these are just tags that we're recommending based on our experience in the market. They're ready to go. Apply them at your leisure. And then we have automated. So what automated is doing is it's once we pull in your assets, we're recognizing certain attributes of your assets, and we're just automatically applying tags there to jumpstart your analysis and jumpstart you being able to get to that why. So here you can see, okay, this is a 16:9 aspect ratio. It's landscape, 1:1 square. So we're going to help you out there, and we're going to automatically, again, assign these on your behalf and allow you to kind of slice and dice your data right out the gate. Okay, so again, we have our two backbones, metrics, set the what, tags, the backbone for getting to the why. All right, now I'm gonna actually dive into insights here. What I'm gonna walk you through is 2 separate things. So 2 separate scenarios of how insights or Creative Insights allows you to get to a specific why. One, okay, I just want to look at my metrics. I want to see what's performing against my metric. And then 2, I've been asked a specific question because we know marketers are bombarded with questions. I want to be able to answer that specific question. How can I get to the why of that specific question? Before I do that, though, I'm going to give you just a really quick high-level intro into how we're aggregating your data and sort of like how to navigate Creative Insights, if you will. So as soon as you land into Creative Insights, you're going to land within what we call our stack rank tile view. A tile are these individual creative components here, and they're stacked rank in the last 14 days in descending order by spend. So let's start with just the anatomy of a tile. A tile here is representative of a creative concept. So it's a collection of ads that are using the same media, so image and video, and copy. So any ads that you have out there in the marketing universe that are using a unique combination of media and copy, we will aggregate that performance for you and display that aggregate performance. So right here, you can see this creative concept has been live for 10 days, across 10 ads for 445 days. And then you can see the aggregate performance of that individual tile. The reason that we're aggregating it in this way is because, again, we're trying to get you to the most impactful why as possible. By aggregating this performance data at the concept level, you can begin to make decisions not about, oh, this ad performed here, that's great. What about this other instance of this ad? What this is enabling you to do is focus in where to focus your creative efforts. Okay, on-model shoots are working really well. Let's continue to invest there. Or, okay, in aggregate, all of our product shots really need some help. Let's brainstorm on that idea. And let's make sure that we're getting some product images out there that are really working for our business. So that is the anatomy of a tile. So how are we setting the what for the why within Creative Insights? Well, again, thinking back to metrics, whatever metrics you've selected within or made visible within that solution are now available for you to pick as important metrics in your analysis here. So I'll go to select metrics. I'm going to deselect some of these and make sure that I'm selecting what really matters. I care about spend. I care about click-through rate. I care about conversion rate. And I care about CPA, or cost per customer acquisition. We're limiting you to 4 metrics because there's no need to go beyond that. 4 metrics gives you a really solid context of what's happening. I can save it as my default metric if I want, then I can hit apply. Once I select those metrics, it's going to rerun all of that data and show me my top line performance of this cohort. And then on top of that, it's going to show me, it's going to provide me with a benchmark for comparison. How are my individual concepts performing above or below against the benchmark for this individual cohort? So it's giving you the building blocks you need for a really strong comparison and a really strong analysis. So again, I'm stack ranking by spend. I want to get a little bit more specific. So I want to expand this out to, let's say, 30 years, 30 days is quite an analysis. And I also want to make sure that of the filters that I'm picking, I want to make sure that I'm only looking at something that spent more than $1,000. If it didn't spend more than $1,000, I don't care about it for the sake of this analysis.
Hey, Lauren.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question from a participant. Can you explain what CPA and ROAS is?
Yes. So CPA and ROAS are 2 metrics that are commonly used in marketing for brands that are really focused on acquiring a customer to do a specific thing. So CPA is cost per acquisition. So cost per action that I care about as a business. That could be how much did it cost me to convert one person to purchase sunglasses, or it could be how much did it cost for me to get one person to sign up for an email, or really whatever conversion event that you care about. So that it's going to give you a way to measure the efficiency of your campaign, or how far are your dollars going in order to drive the action that you're looking for. Typically with a CPA, or cost per acquisition, the lower the number, the better. That means the lower, the less money it takes for me to acquire a customer, or for me to get a user to do a thing that I care about, the better for me, because that means I have more money to spend to get more people to do that thing. ROAS is sort of the opposite side of that coin. It is another efficiency metric. It is another way to measure how far your dollars are going, but it's return on ad spend. And typically ROAS, you are only able to calculate if you are getting dollars in exchange for whatever that you're trying to do. So for example, sunglass purchases. I know that my sunglasses cost $30. So for every conversion, I'm going to get $30. How much ad spend did I spend in order to get those $30? And so in ROAS, it's actually the opposite of cost per acquisition. The greater your ROAS, the better. That means you're getting a greater return on the dollars that you are spending. If that makes sense. So obviously within our metric selection, you can pick, if you are in the business of selling goods, you can pick those metrics. Let's say you actually really don't care about that. There's a million other metrics you can pick from that are enabling you to get to what you care about. Maybe I'm driving an awareness campaign. I care about how much it costs to acquire 1,000 impressions, because I'm really just trying to get my name out there, trying to get people to see it. You can go to CPM, and now we can measure these same tiles, these same concepts against whatever metric matters most.
Hey, Lauren, another question for you. Can I change the metrics that I see on the tiles?
You can, yes. So whatever metric that you were selecting up here. So again, let me just go ahead and deselect some of these. Now let's say I want cost per click, impressions, spend, and click-through rate. Whatever 4 metrics I'm picking here is going to change the metrics up here and change the metrics within the tiles themselves. So the metrics you're seeing up here are your top line KPIs. So for this entire cohort of ads, this is the average cost per click, average click-through rate, the total number of impressions, and the total spend. And then within the individual tile, it's comparing this individual concept's performance against these top line KPIs. So this cost per click is above the average of this cohort. this click-through rate is 18% above the average of this cohort. So again, whatever metrics that you are selecting here will change these top line KPIs, and they will also change the metrics or the measurements within the tiles themselves. Okay, cool, great questions. I'm digging it. I'm gonna keep going. And again, if you have another question, please jump in, don't be shy. So that's sort of what I just walked you through is the baseline, how you essentially use Creative Insights. But we're here to talk about how do I get to the why, right? So again, let's say I'm trying to just filter on just my metric. I want to see what's performing well for the money I'm putting out there. I don't have a specific question in mind, but I want to know why things are working. So right now I've defaulted to, or I filtered to ads that have spent over $1,000, and it's organizing these concepts in descending order. So this has spent the most, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. Immediately I'm saying, okay, my top 2 spending ads are the exact same image or video, but the copy is a little bit different. So if I get into the metrics, okay, I'm seeing this top spender has a click-through rate that's far above the average of this cohort, whereas this one has a click-through rate that is below the average of the cohort. So obviously the images are the same, the copy's different. What about this copy is different? And so by comparing these 2 things, you're able to get to the why. Okay, this is the perfect fit. This is the finishing touch to any look. It's talking about the versatility and how perfect it is in any situation. Let's continue to iterate on copy. That's obviously working. Let's focus our efforts there, and let's make sure that we have more of that. So that's just an example of one of the things that this particular view will enable you to do. On the inverse of that, let's say I have a very specific question that I want to answer. I'm going to change my metric to include conversion rates and cost per acquisition, or that efficiency metric, because that's what I care about. My boss just asked me how our on-model ads are doing for our prospects. Okay, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to type in prospecting. I happen to know that all of my campaigns that are going after new customers include the word prospecting. I'm going to come to my filter, and I know that in that tagging module, I've applied tags at the image and video level for on model. Okay, let's do that. Boom. Now I immediately have, for the last 30 days, all of my on model ads that have targeted our prospecting audience. Okay, well now let's just run through that same comparison. What's working, what isn't? Well, I'm looking at these metrics here, and I'm immediately seeing that the majority of my CPA, which is my efficiency metric for my top spending ads, are below average. So that's not so great. These are working, as we saw in the top line performance. But when I'm narrowing it down to this cohort, this very specific group of people, they're actually not working as well as they could be. However, I'm seeing here, these 2 on model ads have a lower cost per acquisition, which is good. I want my cost per acquisition to be low. Okay, well, immediately I can just tell these are forward-facing models. They're facing us. Maybe that's something that we should lean into more. All of the other models either starting off with their back to us or a side look, but these forward-facing models are really doing well. What I can do now is I can come in here and I can apply a tag directly to this image that says forward-facing. I can apply a tag here that says backward-facing. I can apply a tag here that says side-facing. And now I have the building blocks to measure continued decisions in forward-facing model creative choices to see if that is really doing what I want it to do. It's getting to the why. These forward-facing models are driving better performance for our prospecting audience because our audience is able to see them face on. That's what our audience likes. And again, these are just examples of different insights you can get to by just playing around with the tool. One other view, which I think is actually quite powerful, that I haven't walked through, is our plot view. So again, tile view, click over here, plot view. What this is now doing is it's taking, again, those exact same tiles on that tile view, and it's plotting them on this chart right here of spend versus CPA. I can change these metrics to be click-through rate, to be really whatever I care about. But what this view is enabling you to do is to make it a little bit easier for you to compare. So again, anything in this top sort of half are my highest spending ads. And then anything in this sort of like lower half of the graph are any ads that have performed below, which is a good thing, our average CPA. So again, immediately I see these 2 ads have spent the most at the lowest CPA. And so I know I need to lean in here. And so again, this is just a couple of the ways that you can just slice and dice your data, play with different views, start with just the data and get to an answer of why something's working, or go in here knowing that you have a very specific question that you want to answer and you're able to answer it with creative insights. And so that really is all that I wanted to demo or share with you. And so now what I would really love to do is just pivot over to Q&A. If you have any other questions that are sort of top of mind or that you're thinking about right now, I would love to be able to answer those for you.
Lauren, there's a question. Do I need to run really specific A/B tests to know what is happening or not?
Okay, so that's a great question, and it's something that we get quite often. And so, again, the marketing's filled with data, and we as marketers want to be able to control as much as possible. And so, oftentimes we default to running very specific tests to get to very specific questions. So I'm going to run 2 of the same ad. One copy is going to have an emoji. The other is not going to have an emoji. I want to know how the emoji performs. You don't have to do that with Creative Insights. And the reason why is because of our tag solution. Our tag solution does all of the hard work for you. It's organizing your data, it's organizing your components, and it's giving you as a marketer freedom to optimize your campaigns in whatever way that makes sense for your business, but still be able to answer those really specific questions. So if you, for example, are a really scientific dude, just like Bill and I, our friend over there, you can run those tests and Creative Insights works for you. Or if you're not, and you're just putting stuff out there and you want to know what works, Creative Insights works in that way as well. So it's giving you more freedom to behave in the way, again, that makes sense for your business. Any other questions I can answer for anyone? Okay, cool.
Sorry,
so
Lauren, I do have one. You have one more. Can I see my organic social posts on here too?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Currently, what we support are any boosted posts. However, I will say that in the next coming months, we are going to be expanding our coverage to include organic data. So right now we support Facebook, inclusive of Instagram, Google, and Bing for other solutions that we have out there. In the next 2 months, we will be including coverage to include Pinterest and Snapchat and organic data for all of those channels as well. Okay, so we are at time. I so very much appreciate y'all taking the time to hang out with us today and to chat a little bit about Creative Insights. All of you should already have user credentials to Jove. As a thank you for joining the webinar today, we want to hook all of y'all up with a free trial. So please don't be shy. We're going to be following up with the recording of this webinar, and you'll also be hearing from me personally about how I can help get your accounts connected. No strings attached whatsoever. No payment required up front at all. Just eager to get y'all in the tool, to hear more about what you like, what you don't like, and hopefully help you get to some insights that'll help you move your business forward. Okay, everyone. Again, I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a good rest of their Thursday.